Well, hey there, folks. This is Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Welcome back to Southeast Louisiana. It is Saturday morning. It is the 18th of September, September 18th, and we gotta do a little bit of bee work. Gotta start catching up and getting a handle on what is going on in the bee yard. Videos first and foremost. A little bit challenging right now because we still have no internet. Hotspot just doesn't cut it with the phone. And they're talking about December for internet. I'm seeing some fiber boxes on the roads on some of the highways that are lit up in green. Seeing plenty of them that are lit up in red. So who knows what's happening with that? Who knows where the system is at with what's going on? I know our line is down from here all the way over, but we have power. All is well. Not complaining. A lot of debris still around in the area. That's going to be an ongoing effort for the next few months. But you know, I think everybody's finally powering up. We'll see still a lot of power out in other places, but here we've all pretty much got power on this side of our little community. So all's well. I mean, internet, I can go into town, find some places, upload videos. It's a little tricky, you know, availability, time frame, when I can do it while I'm in town at work or whatever. Maybe I can go to the Abbey. I think he's got some pretty good internet up there. My problem with that is he's gonna make me work for it. I don't know if I want to go there. I don't know. We'll figure it all out. Not a big deal. So, you know, get them all edited up and ready to go as best I can, and then just find a place to upload really quick. We'll be all right. So, a couple things I want to go over real quick. What we need to do today. So, let me start by saying, okay. So the hurricane. Yeah, I was using it as an excuse because it was an excuse. It was a valid excuse of why everything stopped with what I was doing. I have a colony right back here, that single I wanted to combine 3 weeks ago. I couldn't do it. That was the weekend of the hurricane. About Wednesday or so, it was time to prep. There was no, okay, we knew where it was going at that point pretty much. We had to prep. We didn't have time to start running through hives and doing things. I guess I could have went and slapped it on a colony, but in the end, I just didn't have time. And then when it hit, of course, it's 2 weeks of cleanup and get back on your feet and getting back to the job site and cleaning up at the job site. I work outside all day, and so there was a lot of cleanup there. So a lot of things got put off. So I went back in my log and looked, where was I at besides the middle of treatment? Where was I at with what I needed to do to some colonies that were looking weak? Obviously, we didn't get to finish assessments because I was doing, you know, 5 to 10 a day here and there as I would have time within a week and a half span, 10 days to 2 week span, and go through them all. So we didn't get through them all, so we found one that got weakened all the way down and overrun. You know, that's things that would have been caught during my assessments, which we didn't end up doing. So assessments were interrupted. I had a combine I wanted to do back here that was interrupted, so they're probably dwindled down to next to nothing. They were queenless. Maybe they weren't. There were some cells in there, but I had damaged them. Who knows if there were other cells? We'll see. We had the queen that flew off and never got a chance to check. And we had number 3, which I had wanted to check, but didn't make it. It got robbed out sooner than I could get to it. So we have a couple dead outs because of not being able to get back in them. Maybe they may have died out anyway. I'm not going to say I would have caught them, but there's a good chance I would have. We have a combine that may not be worth saving, but we'll see. If it's not overrun with wax moths and all, we can still combine it somewhere, put the honey on top of the single, make it double, and have a split ready for next year. I mean, there's ways to do it, but we're going to go through and do all that. So the storm did stop a lot of that stuff up. I want to clear up something I did say on my last video about treatments, and here's where the storm did affect treatments for me. I don't want to say that the mites in the dwindling colonies was the fault of the storm. It wasn't. They might have already been getting sick during the treatment, but I had to stop treatment after 2 doses of oxalic acid. I usually like to do 4 pretty close together, and that usually gives me a good knockdown going into winter. My treatment regime has been effective over the last few years. My losses have been, you know, pretty minimal. I mean, some years worse than others, obviously. Some years I'm running with the national standard of what people are losing. Other years I was better. But it was working for the most part, as well as anybody else's was that I could tell anyway. But we had to stop. I did 2 doses and had to stop. And now what that does is it starts me all over again with 4 more doses. The only hope we have is that maybe there was some sort of knockdown, some sort of decrease in mite load that would have kind of inches on through till now. So the dwindling colonies I mentioned in my last colony, I'm not saying that was because of the storm, but it sure didn't help to stop the treatments middle ways. And so that brings me to why I said I want to change up some treatments and all. One problem down here with these strips is this temperature. We have extreme temperatures all the way through mid-September. It's actually cool today at 74 degrees, but the humidity is off the charts. But that doesn't affect it. But it gets in the 90s regularly. I mean, every day from July all the way through August, and most of the time into September. So you really need to be jumping into those things back in August. So I got to be selective of what strips I get. So I've always stayed away from them, mainly for expense, as I told you. But also, not all of them could be used in the extreme heat. So, you know, I got to read up on dosages and what I can do and how I can do it. Apagard, I watched Bob Benny and came and talk about those. You know, I watched the dosages being reduced for different heat levels and all. And that's scary when you, well, maybe I didn't reduce it enough and now you run some bees out. But I need to do some research. And here's what I meant by if I'd had strips in, they would have been treated through the storm. If I'd have put strips in when I started treating, when I should start treating, my treatments would not have been interrupted at all. Storm, no storm, the hives all stayed standing. I would have been good to go. We would have been treating the whole time, and I would have been in and out of them every week and now starting over. It would have saved a lot of work. And when something like this comes, because August is a peak of hurricane season, when storms come, or like a tropical storm we just had for 3 or 4 days, all this rain comes through. It was a depression when it got here. No need to worry about, well, I can't treat today, I can't get my vapor in today. It's already in there and it's done. It's being taken care of all throughout that. So that's kind of what I meant by that. I would have been treating. I'm not saying that's what would have saved these dwindling hives. Probably would have though, but may not have. I don't know. They're dwindling. Maybe they're already sick. Who knows? But in the end, the main reason I was talking about changing up regimes wasn't necessarily because of that. It was so I could get in there, get them treated, and walk away for 6 weeks. That's the big thing. Apagard, I would have had to go back in with a second dose, but that's not hard. I mean, you go in open, put the stuff in, and go again. But, you know, it's just one of those things. Nutrition's an issue right now because there's just not a lot out there. But all my hives are heavy, but they're not necessarily getting pollen. Pollen subs, you say? Well, I could go in and throw out a bunch of patties and put on there, but have you seen the beetles down here? I don't know if any of y'all in the South have put patties on and seen what beetles will do. It is disgusting. They literally go right up to it. They begin to eat on it, and I guess they eat on it. I don't know if they eat on it or not. What I do know is they lay a bunch of eggs in it, and when you pull it up, you just pull up this big thing full of hive beetle larvae, and it's disgusting. I don't want to make a breeder patch on top of my colonies, especially when I've already got weak colonies. So we rely on the pollen that's already in there. We hope they're good for that. They shouldn't be a major issue. Laying has slowed down anyway. It'll pick back up when the flow comes in, but by that time, goldenrod will be blooming, wildflowers should be back up, and we should be good to go. So there is a bit of a hurricane-created dearth from the storm that people don't think about. There's some explanations I wanted to get out because I looked at the video and I got to thinking, I was answering some comments, and I don't know if I was real clear on why I'm changing up a treatment regime, and I didn't want you to think I was blaming a couple of dwindling colonies on the storm. I wasn't. I'm blaming it on not being able to treat early enough like I should have, and you know how I'm doing my regime. I need to change some things up, and now that the storm did come, it did cause a break in this treatment, and I got to figure out something different. Not because I'm gonna get a hurricane every year, but it's just easier. It's just easier, and it's more expensive, of course. You know, you pay for convenience, right? The older I get, the more I learn. Convenience costs, and I'm willing to pay. But yeah, so there's some explanations. There's what we're talking about. You know, got to get on with things. Got to get recouped. I'm not too terribly far behind. Just reviewed my log and seeing where I was at that weekend at everything. That pretty much bee yard time stopped. Where was I? And so now I'm going to pick up, and I think I'm late on some stuff now. But it's one of those inspections where I'm going into suspect colonies from 3.5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. So I'm not looking forward to it because I'm concerned about what I'm going to find, but it's just freezing more frames and da-da-da-da. Got to clean out my freezer too. So here we are, guys. We're back. Got my hair cut. It's a couple hours later, and I'm not looking forward to this particular inspection. because I know these should have been dealt with 3.5 weeks ago. Didn't work out. I got to get that tree off of that colony. Oh, that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to pull these supers off once and for all. Well, there's a lot of bees on that colony. Oh, they're happy. I like seeing bees flying. But this one, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it. Let's go take a look, see if that queen ever came back. Probably not a lot of bees in here. I mean, if she didn't come back. Well, there's a little cluster in the middle. Let's look for that. They actually don't look too bad, huh? There's a lot of them on the lid, and there's a cluster. So it's good to see a cluster like that, in my opinion, because they're on something. Could they be on honey garden that? Could they be, oh, I see pollen. That's a good sign. Let's see if, and they're calm and they're not loud. That's a good sign. If there's anybody out there that had never had a queen fly off on them, again, it happens in the spring more so than anything for me when I've seen it, and that's when, yeah, I got a lot of new queens running around, things like that. That was a little late for me to see one, but what I will say is, if what they told me years ago was just stay still, don't move, leave everything open the way you had it when she left, and she'll normally come back whether you see her or not. So that's kind of what I did, and it normally has happened that way. She's normally come back, but there are times when I've seen them not come back, so that's why we need to go look. Now this colony is empty. Empty of honey. They're gonna need food. Wow, I mean empty. There's some larvae. And it's been 3 weeks since we've been in, so that's a good sign. Oh, and there's some eggs. So we got larvae and eggs. I don't know if you can see the eggs. I can see them. We're gonna have to feed these. These bees need feed. I really think we'll have a good goldenrod flow, guys. I really do, because we had a lot of rain in July, August. A lot of rain. We're record-breaking rain, but that should be good for goldenrod. That goldenrod should fill these colonies on up. I'm not telling you it's a pretty pattern or anything, but what I'm telling you is we got a laying queen, and I'm trying to find her. I saw eggs, and I see very, very young larvae. She's laying for sure. Let's see if she's down on that frame. Oh, I see the queen down in the next frame. I believe that's her. Yeah, I see her. So, I know I saw her. Oh, there she is. Okay, I knew I saw a queen. There she is. So, they need food bad. They need nutrition. Nutrition is an issue at this point. I didn't see any small hive beetles. She's laying. She's got a small nest. All right, guys, I'm gonna put it back together. One frame over. Come on, bees, get out of here. It's a beetle gel, not a bee gel. I'm gonna stick this frame in over here, kind of slide the nest a little bit over. And we need to mark these for needing feed. I gotta get a feeder on here. What I'll probably do is just put a hive top on here and throw a gallon of feed in there. That wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Let's take this other single. There was one over here that was sketchy. Number 7, 3, 4 is gone, 5, 6, I think it was 7. Yeah, I got a brick sideways on it. This one was sketchy. Let's take a look and see if they've improved any. They did get 2 rounds of oxalic acid. I mean, better than nothing. Not what I wanted, but you know, I'd have had different plans. It's not gonna hurt to look in here real quick. Let's take a quick gander. Not a lot of bees up top, just guarding some honey is all they're doing. There's a lot of honey up here. And that's what was in my notes, was we had a lot of honey. I'm not even gonna bother with this box. I wanna see what the nest looks like. I like to see normal activity. Oh yeah, I got a decent cluster in here. Not terrible. And this is normal for my bees, really, to be kind of centered on these small clusters like this. It's not unusual because of the management practices I use. I don't feed them a lot. I'm seeing pollen coming in, that's good. And like I said last week, I smelled goldenrod. There is some goldenrod up the road that was blooming before the storm. I haven't been back that way because it was too hard to get down there. Oh man, did I show y'all? I did check my other colonies and everything else was fine and standing. Did I show y'all what the yard in town looked like? Let me show y'all that real quick. All right, just a quick clip on my phone real quick just to show. This is the bee yard, y'all remember it. Trees down everywhere, but they didn't get the bees. Oh goodness, Dan had a bunch of trees go down. It also looks like a tornado came through here, but the bees look fine. Obviously, these are trees. I knew they lasted, but I knew this one would stand. It was just a matter of whether the trees got it. They look very good. Those two over there were the ones that were, that one was sketchy, in the middle one. But hey, that one was a good colony and you can look at it. So they're flying, you know, bees, cows, you know, after a storm like this, all the devastation, cows keep eating grass. Just walk around a few extra trees now. Bees keep flying and looking for forage. Unfortunately, a lot of forage nectar plants, pollen plants have been torn up and knocked down, but and they took a tree across that big shed. It doesn't look like it damaged it, thank goodness. So anyway, bees are good here. The owner, on the other hand, you know, I don't know what he'll do through here or not. The bees are out looking. Probably not finding right now. All right. I'll stick this in a video somewhere. All hives made it. All colonies are good except for the top bar. Yeah, so there was trees everywhere. And they missed the colonies, thank goodness. And it looks like they missed the fella's house. I'm happy about that. So there's our pollen coming in. They're putting some pollen away. Look at the pollen. Actually, there's plenty of pollen coming in. So maybe it is time to open those pollen traps. There's a brood frame. This looks better than it did. There's definitely an improvement. I think shooting them with that oxalic acid, at least them 2 times, did help. I am starting my regimen back up. I'm probably going to start tomorrow, which is a Sunday, so that I can come back next week on a Saturday and the following week on a Friday. Back them up, so I'm at least doing 6 days. It's hard to do it 5 days for me because of work, but yeah, they're looking a lot better. Oh, they're looking so much better than when I looked at them. Wow. Yeah, I like that. She's putting in some brood. You can tell when that pollen starts coming in, she starts brooding up. They've got stores. So definitely the pollen has been restored. Of course, it has been 3 weeks now. Yeah, this colony looks like night and day. This one's not super strong, but it's healthy looking compared to what it was. I'm actually going deeper than I normally would because I've seen eggs. Look at the pollen going in. Wow, there is a ton of pollen, so let me stand corrected. They found some pollen since the storm. Wow, there's a lot of pollen coming in. I can't get over it. I do stand corrected. I mean, I'm looking at it. Guys, there's a queen cell that's broken. And there's some cups that are not quite being finished. Nothing in them. See, I mean, they're doing what they need to do. Eggs in there. Yeah, she's fine. I'm curious about those cells. They're not swarm cells, obviously. We did crush that one. Maybe they'll finish those other cups. There was that other cell, so I don't think it'll be the end of the world us breaking it. I don't like breaking it, but we had a queen 3 days ago, so. And I've seen that. I've seen where there'll be supersedures and you won't miss a beat sometimes. That queen's still in there and all is well, but we'll watch them. I'll make a note. Well, that's an improvement. So I'm gonna put the brick back regular. That's an improvement. Well, I'll take that. That wasn't bad. I didn't plan on inspecting that one. Maybe. Let's go look at our singles so we can wrap up and get some I'm gonna pull supers today, guys, and all I'm gonna do is yank them off with a fume board. Y'all have seen that. I'm not necessarily gonna take a video camera because we got rain coming. So what I'm gonna do is get in here, take a quick, this in here I don't have hope for. They were queenless, and I did damage some cells. I was gonna combine them, and the storm came, I didn't do it. So I don't know how bad a shape they're in. We're gonna look though. Oh wow, that lid's on good. If that lid's on good, that could be wax moth. See dead bees up there. That's unusual. It's not a sign of health, I can tell you that. They look like they're clustering right here, like they got more organization than they had before, and they actually got a decent population. But there was no brood in here whatsoever. There was 0 brood in all honey. So that was what, 3 weeks ago, guys. They've definitely cleaned up the beetle situation, as I'm seeing again. Let's get toward the center and see what they were gathering around. There's definitely a good amount of bees, so it's worth combining now. That's good. Maybe they finished out some cells I didn't catch. They're a little bit testy. Make sure we don't have any kind of drone laying going on. Still just all nectar. Yeah, they still look pretty bad. Them leaves blew in from the storm and they waxed them in there. Yeah, still queenless. So we'll combine these, and what'll be good about this is this amount of nectar that's in here. I'll put it on top. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what, that colony back there is looking better, and they need feeding. They need feeding. This would be a prime example of, a prime colony to throw on top. And I don't see any eggs whatsoever. Double check with my light, but no eggs whatsoever. And those might be where they cleaned out some food. So this would be a good candidate to throw on top of that hive that I thought was sick. And it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be they're doing okay. I'm not telling you they're not sick, but I might just combine this on top, and that'll give them their food, so I don't have to feed them. There's no queen in here, and all we're going to end up doing is letting them die off or create a laying worker situation, and that's not good. So what we'll do with this is combine it like I planned on doing. There's still enough bees worth combining, and the frames are good enough. I do get a little bit concerned with numbers. I don't want to, that colony over there has got a narrow nest to it. It's kind of small. So I'll put an entrance reducer in there and throw this on top. Alrighty, well there you go, guys. I was actually pleasantly surprised with 28. Very, very low on stores though. And it wasn't a huge colony, but there was 5 frames of bees. Putting this on top could be detrimental to them. So I'm rethinking that. Better off just to feed them, really, at this point. I think that's what I'm going to do. Just putting this on top is just going to give them another double deep. 5 frames of bees plus what's left in here is not going to guard that. So I'm probably going to take this one over. I know one that's got plenty of bees. It's a single. I got 10 frames of bees. I can put this on top, and that'll make them happy, and they'll have food. They really kind of are getting close to where they'll probably need feeding, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Now, what I'll do is I'll newspaper combine them. I know I don't have to use newspaper, so before anybody says it, I know. I had a commenter one day. I did a newspaper combine. It's just what I do. It's just how I've learned, and I like it. I stick with it, and I'll tell you one of the reasons I do it. But I know you don't have to. I know people that don't do it anymore. There's plenty of them that, heck, I've even seen Bob Benny take a laying worker and just throw it right on top of a colony. I understand all that. But she wrote in this comment, she said, you don't have to use a newspaper to combine. Maybe I'm taking that out of context, that tone, but I know that. What I would do that one for is, I'm moving this to the same yard. There's nowhere they can drift, because this is all by itself over here. So what I'll do is I'll put newspaper on it, so they'll be in there for 2 to 3 days, chewing their way through and coming out, and get reoriented. And I have less bees over here. I may very well put a catch box over here just to catch a few, but it really doesn't make a difference. There's not that many here. So I will do a newspaper combine on them, and it'll be on a colony that's a single over there that needs some food, and surely couldn't hurt to add the bees to them. And that way this one will be taken care of. And
got near a lunch hour. I think South Beach was going to have as many shots as they want down the river. They're going to make some type of change.
nothing new, guys, nothing new here. I do use newspaper. I know you don't have to, but you know, like I told y'all, it'll help them reorient too, because literally they're right across the yard from their old home. Pretty good colony. It was sketchy, but a little newspaper. Oh, let's give them the comics. Yeah, let's give them the comics. There we go. I take a little bit of, just a little bit of water on there. I just dampen it up a little bit. A couple slits, you know. Just like all the books tell you. I do it like the books say. Pretty heavy. Being it's got so much nectar in it. There we go. Let's get all the bees off. I don't want to get all this trash in here, but I do want the bees in there. Got a little bit of trash. And we'll throw the lid on, and that should make a pretty robust colony. I'm happy, actually. You know, I know this is weak. Okay, so first thing I'm happy about is, even though this is weak, I'm glad I found it to be still viable enough to combine. I was afraid we were going to come in here and see small hive beetles overrunning it, because it's been 3 weeks since we looked at it, 3.5 weeks, something like that, about 4 days before the hurricane. And I just figured they would weaken up with no queen after damaging their cells. That one, it was sickly looking. Maybe all the treatments helped them. You know, maybe that got them knocked back just enough to maybe not be as stressed, because stressed bees look sick to me sometimes, so that's good. So I'm pleased with that one. They just need feed. So I'm pleased with what I found. Then I went in that one, and I had it marked with a brick. I don't know. We inspected that way back when, I think. Maybe that was during some of my assessments I was doing when I was doing 5 to 10 at a time. Anyway, I had it marked as bad, and when I looked at my book this morning, it was marked as, keep an eye on it. It's not looking good. Well, they've definitely improved. So I've seen improvement among what we looked in today. That's encouraging. My colonies at this time frame aren't booming, big, giant, full 10 frame colonies anyway. They're smaller clusters in the summer, because I do allow the queen to shut down. I don't feed them and keep them rolling and supplement them and all that stuff. I know all about bee nutrition, but we are in a very lush area. Our dearth lasts about a month and a half, maybe 2 at the most, and then they start getting other nectar again. As you can see, this whole summer as we went through them, beside this period that we had the storm, there's been nectar in them, and so that's an encouraging sign. There is food, but that one needs more. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody watching. And again, I'm going to try and get this thing uploaded. Don't know when. They're talking December for internet, but I think it'll be sooner. And I think I can always find something. But we're going to go see about getting this thing uploaded and on the way out to you guys. So I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you don't mind, of course. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hey, it doesn't cost you a dime to subscribe. Really don't. And don't forget to share this video with friends, family, anybody that just enjoys watching bees. Hey, this is Barry's Best Hunting. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Y'all have a wonderful afternoon. May God bless y'all. See you later.